It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Monday episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. It's Nielson, Gager, Hernan, and Kassian with you once again. The Two Guys and a Goalie podcast brought to you by all of our individual cool bet bets over the weekend, which was massive. It's brought to you by our friends at CoolBet, coolbet.com. Stay cool, bet responsibly, bet on McDavid, and you're probably going to be all right. Boys, how was the weekend?
It was, well, I was good. I was live for Connor's 100, which is awesome. I've up to that point, boys, the biggest moment I've seen live was Yakupov scoring in overtime, and he skated the whole ice and the field flurry. So yeah, I've never been to a playoff game live, so that was pretty special, man. And I always leave around 5 minutes to go in the second. I walk to my car and drive over, but I was like, he's getting it before the second, so I stayed and. It was truly awesome. But yeah, nice Mother's Day as well with my wonderful mother yesterday. And yeah, overall good weekend, boys.
Yeah, Hernan, you look like you lost weight over the weekend. We talked on Friday night. That haircut must have worked out for you. Sweet, good for you.
Yeah, that's let's keep that on the down low.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
How much did you get taken off?
He went a little. He went a little, but it's 3 weeks, right? So I said, why not? And the moral of the story is I told Gager, because he joined me on the pod, and I said, I look so good. Like, I imagine when my girlfriend sees me. So then Gager threw some jokes. And
Cass, how was your weekend, buddy?
It was Mother's Day, so it's good. I did good. I made this little, it's like a cartoon book. Like it's like telling our family story. So I'd been chipping away at it for quite some time and gave it on Mother's Day. So it was pretty good. It was
like, did you draw the book?
No, there's like an online program where you can do it. So it's pretty
okay.
Like, I mean, the thing that takes the longest time is figuring out like what you want the little pictures to be. And so that takes a long time, but it was pretty simple from a software standpoint. So it was really good. Went over well, and we did a big Mother's Day brunch. I too got my hair cut, I guess, in between. I think it was in between. Maybe I got it cut before Thursday. I don't know. But I just wanted to tell you guys, I'm growing a mullet.
What?
Like not like a thick mullet, but like a mini mullet, kind of, sort of.
So where did this come from? Why now? What's going on?
It's popular. Haven't you guys seen that? Haven't you seen the kids? The kids are all cutting their hairs into mullets. And,
so is this 80s Barry Melrose or like late 90s Barry Melrose? Like
probably more like late 90s Melrose than 80s.
All right.
Yeah. I like it.
No, I'm not going Melrose at all. It's not even really a mullet. I'm just changing up the back of it a little bit, so you won't even really be able to tell. It's called the drop fade, where it's just like the fade just starts a little lower on the back of my head. So, but Dusty, you know what I was thinking when I was thinking about that? I was thinking that you should get a mullet because I think like with your curly hair, it would work really well. You can get a little bit curly on the top and like shorter on the sides and have a nice little curly poofy mullet. Like you see them everywhere. I was watching sports highlights. Watching a bunch of the basketball highlights, and a whole bunch of those guys were starting to grow them. It looks pretty awesome. So I think you should get on it.
What do you think? Like half Patty Kane, half Jack Eichel type of thing? Is that we're going like Eichel's curls and Patty Kane's? So I got a haircut on Thursday or Friday too, and I go in to sit down and I tell the guy, I'm like, yeah, I'll take, give me a 4 on the sides, and he goes, I'll do 3 on the sides. I was like, okay, I mean, do whatever you want then, I guess. It doesn't matter to me. Plus, the whole time I'm blind, I can't see a single thing that's going on, so my entire head is in his hands, which concerns me a little bit with that. But, yeah, that was good. Hernan talked about it with the 100 moment. Cass, what was going through your mind there when McDavid puts up 4 points in less than 40 minutes?
I mean, he got the first 2, and you're just like, yep, this is happening. Like, he is going to do it. It's just so incredible, and say all you want, and people, or he could say all he want, Connor could, that he didn't care about it. but he cared about it. I think you saw the whole team cared about it. The whole organization, like everybody cared about it. Everybody knew what was going on the ice. And even like the guys in the Canucks is like, they knew what was going on too. It's like, come on, let's be serious. Connor absolutely cared about it. Does he care about playoffs more? Yes. Does he care about winning more? Yes. Did he have a special little place in his heart to say, I want to get 100 points this season? Absolutely he did. Absolutely he did. So quite an amazing moment. A lot of fun to see. I love watching it. I just wish, Hernan, you're lucky that you got to be there. I just wish we got to be there. And how much cooler would it have been? It's just unfortunate. Like if this would have been with fans and with people there, how nuts the building would have went. But still just an incredible moment. So a lot of fun.
Gage, were you cheering for that moment because of certain wagers you'd made, or were you just happy to see McDavid get to 100?
There's a little bit of both, Dusty. I can't lie. But at probably 60-40, and on the 60 side was it took me back to being a little kid watching something. I became a supreme fan again, which I love when hockey makes me feel that way, where I'm just so into the game and watching it just as a spectator. And what an accomplishment. I had a smile on my face the whole time while he was doing it, and seeing the everyone else so happy for him and stuff like that, and the smiles and the terrible interview with Gene Principe afterwards. But he tries to make it more about the team than himself, which is commendable. But I'm sure the whole city was pretty well. A lot of people in Canada, I bet, were pretty happy Saturday night.
It was a where were you moment. And usually, I go to a lot of the games, not so much on weekends, but we got a hotel for Mother's Day night. So we had the swimming pool on Saturday night and swimming pool Sunday morning, which the kids were loving. But so the game starts at 8:00. Marshall's bedtime is 8:00, and he's in the bed with me. And he goes, "Daddy, I'm going to stay up and watch the whole game with you." I said, "You're not staying up and watching the whole game with me. That's way past your bedtime, buddy. You can try, buddy. You can try." And sure enough, that little bugger lasted until McDavid got his 100th point. So he was laying there. The girls were sleeping in their bed. Marshall's trying to grind it out. He dozed off a couple times, kept waking up. And when he scored, when he got that 100, Marshall kind of rolls over to me, and it was super quiet because we didn't wake the girls up, but he rolls over. He goes, "Daddy, 100. I was just like, yes. And then he rolls over and just passes right out. So he managed to stay up for the 100. The latest he's ever stayed up in his entire life, but he got to see Connor hit 100, which was a pretty cool moment for him, I think. It was kind of fun. So, all right, let's lay this out. We're going to get to Keep or Claim It a little bit later on. But we're going to dive into, we got to talk about it to start, brought to you by our partners at Break Kings. If you've not yet started following Break Kings on Facebook, Break Kings with a Z. It's a card breaking group. I think I got a couple of breaks there this week. So hop on Facebook, join in. You can check out all the different cards. They're doing Pokemon cards now, boys. Pokemon cards. Cass, were you into Pokemon cards?
No. I never was Pokemon cards. I mean, you know the whole MTG side. So, if they ever do that, maybe I'll have to jump in on an episode or two.
Is there a bit of rivalry there between Magic and Pokemon? Probably, eh?
Probably. I mean, Pokemon would be viewed as like less mature, I'm sure. I don't know.
All right. Anyway, join Break Kings on Facebook. Let's start with Gager. Gager, where do you want to go? What do we got to talk about today?
Well, we talked about Connor with the 100 and how cool that was. I just wanted to say how I'm just such a firm believer that the NHL is just the best league. And let me tell you why. Everyone's involved in the games and how the NHL is a family and it just made me happy to see some of the things that transpired over the week. Like, when do you see actual referees or linesmen there was two guys, I forget their names, but I had them here, but I forget, but they're both retiring, and both teams came and shook hands with these linesmen at the end of the game to congratulate them on a wonderful career in the NHL. Like, you don't see that in other leagues. And that kind of, I was like, wow, that's an unbelievable spectacle to see, because I mean, Cass, you know how you do talk to refs, you do talk to linesmen. There's a relationship that you build with these guys, and sometimes it starts as early as junior. Like, you come up with a lot of these guys too. And then I hate seeing great players not win the Stanley Cup, and I look at Ryan Miller and how it came to the end of his career, and he was such a great goalie for so long with Buffalo. Like, he came in after Hasek basically and carried that torch with that team, and they were a really good team for a long time. And again, to see the other teams acknowledge a great career of a person, and everyone shaking hands, and the fans and seeing the embrace with his parents at the end of the game. And here's a older guy just reverted back to like a little kid at a tournament, playing his last game. To show that type of emotion and to see how the league just embraces everyone that's a part of it. It just made me happy that not only that I was part of that league, but it just goes to show you that there's things beyond just playing the game and stuff that stays with you. And it was a wonderful week, I think, for the NHL, with McDavid showing the appreciation of just referees and acknowledging great careers, and both sides doing it. You don't see that in any other of the major sports, and that's why the NHL is the best.
Cash, you got anything to add there?
I was going to say, and I can't remember which one of it was, because I can't remember his name either, but my wife even remembered one of the linesmen. She's like, "Oh, I remember that guy. He was tall." And I was like, "Yeah, he was." And it's killing me actually right now that I can't remember his name. But yeah, that is pretty cool. I do think it's the best league in the world. It's a lot of fun to watch and to be a part of, and it is a family. Now, sometimes I wish, just like any dysfunctional family, that there would be a little bit more fights sometimes inside of the dysfunctional family, at least while guys are playing. And I don't necessarily mean like physical fights. I just mean like that angst, because it makes it so much more fun to watch, and that emotion spilling over. But as a whole, it is an absolute blast. There's things I wish the league as a whole they did better. I think they could improve on some areas, like marketing some of their marquee players and star players, like Connor McDavid, for example. But as far as just, yeah, it is the best. Gage, you're right. I love it.
I don't have anything to add. You guys are right. I think it's the best too. We all grew up with this league, man. Like, you guys got to play in it. It's incredible. It's weird because Gage, you just laid all these things. Well, it was a great week, and then the week before it was Tom Wilson and intent to injure and lack of respect in the game, and then it's just the whole picture goes from week to. As long as you understand it, I think you understand where we're all coming from for sure. We'll save our two McDavid topics for a little bit later on here. We got to talk about. So let's go to Hernan. Hernan, what do we got to talk about?
Yeah, just last night I was lucky enough to catch Daryl Sutter's press game conference, and
it's so good.
And again, this is not a shot at the media, guys. I get what they were trying to get at with their questions, so the media police can pump brakes. No, don't come at me. But his responses are just truly hilarious. His facial expressions. It just, to start it off, he was asked, like, being an Albertan, how does it feel like that you have to depend on the other team? And he's like, well, what if I was from Saskatchewan? and then when he's like, I cheer for Connor McDavid too. And I thought the best one was towards the end when he was asked, so are your players going to get together and watch these games? They're big games. He's like, well, no, we're in COVID. I don't think they're allowed to. And then they asked him again, will you watch the games? And he's like, I'm done watching hockey. Like, he's just a beauty. And I mean, for media, like, he's probably terrifying to ask a question, because even like good questions, he's just like, whatever. Like, why are you asking me this? And listen, like, I don't know how the players view him. I don't know how anyone else views him, but like, for media and just for us watching from the outside, he's a true he's a beauty, man. Like, and I just want to get your guys' thoughts, because I don't know if Cass or Gage know Daryl, and if he's just like that, like just normally, like when you're having a beer with him, but that press conference was epic last night. Absolutely epic.
God, I'd love to hang out with him, like away from cameras and see how he is, because he comes up with that stuff pretty quick. Like there is some quick wit there. So I'm sure it's it's the Sahara dry for dry humor. But yeah, I love how he answers those questions. It's become must watch.
Yeah.
After, like, to see what he actually says after. You're almost hoping for kind of a weird game just so you can ask him some of those questions, because his answers just they're unbelievable. You couldn't, if you had the bingo card, none of them would show up for sure.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Like, I know it could be frustrating, and I especially get like the Calgary question, like you're trying to play off the Battle of Alberta. Like, I understand what you're trying to do with that, but you have to know who you're asking the question to. And after the first response, like, to go back to it is just like, ooh, like, I don't know if you want to go back to this. But I'm glad he did, because it was really funny. Like, just the response. And I don't know. I don't know Sutter. My grandfather does. He knows all those guys. I mean, he's from Vegreville, so they knew everyone from Viking. I mean, that whole small community and area, they all knew each other, so he knows the whole family. But my understanding from most people that know him speak incredibly highly of him as an individual and as a person. And I know that there's guys that have had conflict with him in terms of coaching style, like how he tries to push players and push buttons, and maybe don't like the way he runs the bench and that sort of thing. But as far as character, I haven't really heard anything negative at all. So I agree, Gage, it would be fun to kind of hang out with him. And it is it's a dry, hoppy wit, as they say.
Yeah. And the funny part, Cass, is that on the Alberta question, like, he kept going at it, and it's like, buddy, just drop it. Like, he's not gonna give in. And then once they moved on, because the guy, their press guys noticed, and he moved on, and then he goes, these guys just don't want us to win. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Like, he just kind of mumbled that, right? Oh my God, it was just amazing.
Which I don't think that's what he was going for. Like, I don't think Francis was pushing him and saying, we want you to fail or anything. I like the one part Francis goes, is the irony lost on you? And I was just like, yeah, man, this is all lost on Daryl. Like, Daryl has no idea where you're trying to go with this right now. So it's rather remarkable. I mean, it's an absolute gold mine for our radio show. So I am so stoked that he's got 2 years left. And I'm not actually going to judge him with what he does in Calgary until we see what type of team they come back with. Because he's going to have a big hand in molding that team next year and get a team that he wants. So we'll see how it plays out if everybody's back in the Pacific next year. All right, Cass, let's dive into what we got to talk about with you, buddy.
Yeah, this is a fun one. So immediately after Connor McDavid gets 100 points, Twitter starts blowing up. Not about how McDavid got 100 points, but about how McDavid shouldn't be the Hart Trophy winner, and about how Austin Matthews is one. Sidney Crosby, there's one writer in the media that had like a 7 or 8 tweet post about why Sidney Crosby or Austin Matthews or I don't even know if it was Huberdeau or who else he had in there. Like, he had like everyone in there, McKinnon, I think, too. Basically, he listed like 4 or 5 guys that he felt should have the Hart Trophy or should get it on top of Connor McDavid this year. So you're like, and I'm just looking at this and I'm going, like, do you realize how many games it took Connor McDavid to get to 100 points? Like, do you realize his points per game? Do you realize that this is one of historically the best seasons in the NHL? Certainly the best in the last 10, 15 years. Like, you could easily argue, I think, that it's one of the best in the last 25 to 30 years seasons for player performance, individual player performance. Like, do you realize that if this guy didn't score a goal this entire season, he would be second in the league in overall points? Like, do you realize like the percentage of his team's goals and goal production that this guy has been on the ice for? And it's like, you know what, these people realize it, and it's just, I've said this before, but the more I go, the more I think it's just to get like clickbait, which frustrates me even more, because it's like you're saying something that you probably blatantly know is not true, just to try to get people to interact with you, to get more likes and clicks or retweets or dislikes. Or on the flip side, you're not saying it to just try to create attention for yourself. You're saying it because you actually believe it. You're saying it because you actually believe it. And I don't know what's worse, Dusty. I don't know what's worse. Like there's not one single player in the entirety of the NHL that would say, "Oh yeah, that player's a big, you should get the Hart Trophy over top of McDavid." Not a single one. Like just watch. Like if they released all the individual votes for the Ted Lindsay Award this year, how many do you think have Connor McDavid not at number one? I don't know if there'll be any. There's not going to be any. Like it just is the most ridiculous thought or mindset. I don't understand it. And again, it's like one of the two things. You're either like just trying to create controversy for the sake of creating controversy, which frustrates me, or you're just you are so out of left field that I don't know how you can truly justify that kind of thinking. Like it does not compute.
The guy that wants Crosby to win it, he had all his tweets like you said, and then he's like, "Oh, and subscribe to his affiliation." Like, and this is what I say. Like, and listen, Sidney Crosby is great, but he only beat Gensel by 5 points. Chris Letang had 48 points. Jared McCann had 30. Rust only was 1 goal behind Sidney Crosby, and we're talking about Sidney Crosby at 62 points should beat Connor McDavid for the Hart Trophy. Like, come on. Like, I get Austin Matthews. He scored 40 goals in less than 50 games, which is outstanding. But like Cass said, no one's doing what Connor McDavid's doing. And if you're trying to make an argument, a case for it, you want attention. It's clickbait. And we've had this conversation so many times, guys. And hell, even Sidney Crosby is going to vote for Connor McDavid for the Ted Lindsay. Like, it's beyond ridiculous that and it's only a few this year, Cass. I thought we saw a lot more pushback last year for Leon Draisaitl, but yeah, I as I have gotten older and I'm in the media now, guys, I wanted to respond, but I just left it alone. And it's like, I'm going to enjoy it because we should be enjoying Connor 100 points in 53 games, not fighting with people on Twitter who just like, I don't even think they truly believe.
I didn't know baseball. I just did this.
It's just an awful take. It's an awful take.
And then he doubled down and he went back to the 80s where he goes, Lemieux got screwed over by Gretzky. And I'm like, look at the point totals, jackass. Like, I don't. It's just bias, though, guys. It is.
You know what the thing is too is I think that guy in particular. I think he also he has a really really close relationship with the Penguins. Isn't he not?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think he wrote Malkin's biography or whatever. He's tight with him.
Like
half of Malkin's biography was about how Sidney Crosby's a better player anyway. So that's probably how it went down. Gage, you got anything to add to this debate? Like, even I'll just quickly say this because Cass, I get pretty fired up about this as well. But like, even Austin Matthews, and Matthews has done phenomenal things with the Rocket Richard. He's had an incredible season. But nobody, I don't think, has ever won the Hart Trophy finishing second on their team in scoring. Like, Mitch Marner has more points than Austin Matthews. So that alone, I mean, Connor McDavid, I said it 3 weeks ago, and a lot of people say it doesn't matter if it's unanimous or not. But from a overall look of your organization, if you're the Professional Hockey Writers Association, it is a bad look if it's not unanimous for Connor McDavid. He's got 33 more points than anybody who's not on his own bloody team, which is insane. It's like 50% of Marner's points McDavid has outscored him by. It's another level this year. I understand in a lot of years they'll have a pretty legitimate debate. Not this year. It's over. It's done. It should be 100% of the vote. Sorry, Gage, I don't know if we left you anything.
No, I just, the way I personally look at the MVP trophy, the Lindsay means more, I think, to the players now, just because of you get idiots voting for clickbait, like you said. I look at an MVP as the most valuable person, and it's the reason why that team has done so well. And it, unfortunately, I know it says a regular season, but I think there's a playoff aspect of that too. You look when Taylor Hall won the Hart, he dragged that team into the playoffs, right? Like that's an MVP season. And I know we talked about at the beginning of the year what would mean more, 50 goals or 100 points. And over the last seeing Austin Matthews hit 40, and he was injured. So I wonder if he's not injured in those games, there could have been a possibility where he would have hit 50. And I know we had the debate on whether would 50 goals push you more towards the winning the Hart, or would 100 points? And after being able to watch as Connor McDavid on a regular basis like we do, I think he would still be the Hart Trophy winner with the 100 points. I think that trumps the 50 goals. Even though that 50 goals would have been an unbelievable accomplishment, I think that you just mean way more to your team if getting to the 100 points than the 50 goals would have been.
Yeah. So what, Gager, I got to actually, you know what? It's not a question for you, Gager. I just want to know what Russian Gager thinks of this.
You cannot put the Russian players in this situation where we think like Russians. We like to score goals. You know, we're individual players. Maybe it's football. We like to dangle, do little things like that. But no, I think Connor McDavid should have a trophy at the end of the season. Lots of and drink. You put some vodka in the Hart Trophy. I think that top actually comes off. Back when Sergei Fedorov and we were partying with the Hart way back when. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, me, Pavel, Dmitry. Oh, I'll tell you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joaquin Gage off. Well done, buddy. That's good. All right, one area I want to stick with Connor McDavid here, actually, boys. And I just want your thoughts on McDavid right now is producing at a 155-point pace over a regular season, or over a full ordinary season. And I'll just throw the question out and we can work our way around the board here. Gager, what would be more impressive to you, putting up 155 points today or 200 in the mid-80s? And is it at least a debatable conversation now at this point, which is phenomenal to think?
That's tough because you know what? You can't compare the two, I don't think, Dusty. It was just a different – the equipment's different, the coaching's different, the level of fitness is different. You can't – they're both amazing accomplishments, but I think the fact that he can – if Connor finished with that over 150 points in today's NHL, I'm leaning slightly more towards that than the 200 back in the day, just because the players are so much better. And let's face it, I hate to say it, but the goalies are better. And I'm excited for next year, to tell you the truth, to see actually what happens, because they're going to be better. The Oilers are going to be better next year. And everyone says about how it was in the North Division, but there's some teams that he could take advantage of that are playing down south too. So I think that's a stupid argument. I lean towards Connor's over 150 would be more impressive.
They're both pretty impressive. I'll agree with you quick, Gager, that I think the argument that he plays in the North Division is a real horrible one, because there's bad teams in each division. Like, yeah, every division has bad teans, and you all play each other.
Next year it'll be the Kings, the Ducks, the Sharks, the Canucks, the Flames, an expansion team, and the Golden Knights.
Well, it's dumb to think the Ottawa Senators aren't they struggle, but they're not that bad a team. You know, like they're tough to play against.
They beat everybody else.
Yeah.
Gager, you made a good point where I think it's Gretzky 200 points in the 80s is amazing. Just like when he hit 50, when he hit 100, it was truly amazing. But I think you make such a great point in the sense where Gretzky's teams were loaded. Like, there were stars everywhere you looked. Edmonton is a team that's just becoming a playoff team. Like like you said, they're only going to get better, and they're going to get better players. And McDavid, sky's the limit, right? Where Gretzky was surrounded. He was the greatest ever, but he was surrounded by the Moose, Anderson, Jari Kurri. They had Grant Fuhr, Paul Coffey. Like, he was playing with the elite of the elite at the time. And where Connor, he's got Leon, he's got Nuge, but this team is still finding their groove and finding their way. So it's for him to be on that pace with this team is truly remarkable.
And the reason I say that too is, I think I've mentioned this before, is when have the Oilers been in a situation where there's an actual culture established? Like Connor's not 21 anymore, you know, like Leon, they're becoming more mature. Nurse, like, so as a young player coming into an established dressing room and seeing how pros act, like that's huge in the going forward and building that culture. Like you look at Detroit over 20 years, you know, they kept rolling through these guys, and that culture just stayed with them. And I mean, I even look at Skinner, the goalie, where he was here for a good portion of the season. And I think him seeing how Mikko and Mike Smith prepared and how they went about their business, and you saw how he went down to the minors and just lit it up. And I think that's just another kind of thing that we've seen from Ken Holland, where establishing that consistency and that desire of winning in the dressing room, that's huge going forward with the Oilers.
If I set the over-under at 139.5 points next year, and cool bet, if you're listening, I'm setting the over-under at 139.5 for next year. Let's get that number up right away. Cass, over-under 139.5 points.
You kind of got to go over, don't you?
Like he's at 155-point pace right now, so that's even slower than he's been this year.
Yeah, you probably got to go over. You probably got to go over. That's a tough. It is a tough one though, because you're like, well, will he match it? Will he get better? Risk of injury and a long season. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm taking the over. If that's what it's set at, I'm taking over.
I will never bet against Connor again. I had him at 80 points this season, and shame on me. So I'm definitely taking the over.
Oof. I got to take the under, just because I think there's going to be maybe a few games that well, that's true. If it's 82, shoot. I'm just thinking of injury on the injury side, just the maintenance. You know, if he gets a little banged
here
up,
or there,
the odd game. And it's more travel,
perfect
more time
season
in the
Gage.
air.
82 games played.
Oh, if I had the crystal ball and it said 82, yeah, it's over.
Gager, get that negativity out of your mind. Get it out.
Hey,
no,
I've been doing well on the cool bet lately. I got to take my algorithm's working for me right now.
There you go. That's what we got to talk about it. Brought to you by Break Kings. Hop on Facebook if you collect cards and join the Break Kings Facebook group. Let's get to keep it or clip it. I've got 4 questions here, and then we'll quickly get to the Habs and Oilers tonight as well. I don't know if you guys saw Jack Eichel's year-end availability that came down here over the last little bit, saying that he wanted to have surgery. The team didn't let him have surgery. Like it's a train wreck. So question number 1, Jack Eichel has played his last game as a Buffalo Sabre. Keep it or clip it.
I'm going to keep it. I think he's let's blow it up. Let's rebuild.
Yeah, I'll keep it too. Their defenseman, the big Finn there, what's his name? 55.
Stalainen?
Yeah, he's like, I wouldn't mind getting traded. Ryan Hart's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then your captain saying the same thing. Like, it's just a bloody mess there. So I'll keep it as well.
I'm going to clip it. I'm clipping it because I think you have to hold on to something as an organization. You got to hold on to something. So you're going to throw money at something. I don't think you have a choice but to try to mend this. So, yeah, I think they do keep him, actually.
Okay, let's get to question number 2. Back to the Oilers here. Cahoon, McDavid, and Puljujarvi, Nuge, Dry, and Yamo is the top 6 to start the playoffs for the Oilers. Keep your clip it.
I'll keep it. Keep it.
I think Cahoon's look pretty good. I know Tippett was asked in his pressure today about Yamo, Nuge, and Cahoon not producing, but Tip said a good thing. He said they're playing well, and those chances are going to turn into goals soon enough. So I like that they're spreading out that top 6. So Dusty, I'll keep it.
Yeah, I gotta keep it. I get some hesitation as to, like, Cahoon scares me a little bit. He has been really good thus far. Like the last little bit, last chunk of games, last stretch of games, he's been really good, really good. Played well, hasn't made big mistakes, but the propensity towards those large, massive, what is that guy thinking in that moment mistakes that he has scares me. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it for now.
He's been moving things around quite a bit, right? Like he had McDavid and Draisaitl together, and then I don't know if he's found something he's liked just yet. I do wonder if puck drops in the playoffs and you still see Nugent Hopkins back with McDavid and Puljujarvi and Cahoon back with Draisaitl and Yamo, but I think when you're 3 games away, you probably want to start and lock this in. So maybe this is exactly what he's going to go with. All right, Tyson Berry. Hernan, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, Dusty, we haven't seen Nuge McDavid in a while, though, right?
Yeah, it's been a little while now. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it was Draisaitl up there, then Nuge was on the other line. It was something in the first 3 quarters of the season he tended to go back to, but he's gone away from it a little bit here over the last little while. So we'll see. All right, Tyson Berry will get $6 million or more per year somewhere this offseason. Keep it or clip it.
Oh, I'm gonna keep it. Like I say, he did what he had to do. He's a great offensive player. Someone's gonna give him that. Probably Buffalo, now that all their men are gonna leave.
So. I gotta keep it too. Gage is spot on. Like he did what he needed to do, and how do you not give him that much money based on his point production? Like what you're gonna try to argue that you're gonna average his last 3 years like you would with a guy in a rookie contract? It's not gonna work with him. So yeah, he's getting 6. Absolutely.
I'm gonna go full cast and I'm gonna clip it because he's gonna sign for less to stay with Edmonton.
Do we think that's a crazy, crazy idea, guys?
I truly don't.
How much? What is he? $1 million this year?
No.
Who, Barrie?
No.
How much is Barrie? $3 million?
Oh, it's like four, 5. Let me just check it out here. Let me double check. I think it's 4 or 5, but I could be incorrect. Tyson Berry, 3.75. 3.75, Gage.
Okay. So lots of money coming off the books. You do have some other guys to sign.
If the Oilers go to him, Gager, and say, we'll give you $5 million for 3 years, 15 mil.
No,
Block?
not.
I got to see what I'm doing with the other guys first, though, because
so Larson, Nuge, goaltending type of thing.
Larson, Nuge, and I mean, you look. Bouchard scores when you throw him in there. So if you need goal from back end, you just throw Bouch in there, right? So I don't know. It would be nice. I think it depends on how well the Oilers do in playoffs. If they're close, he might. Why not sign the 1 more year? And see if they can get one of those rings at the end of the season. I think that would be the only way that might change his mind.
I don't think he's going to take less than 4 years.
Okay.
Like he's going to want a 4 to 5 year deal, maybe even less than 5 year deal.
Cass, is there any way at any dollar amount you'd commit 4 years to him if you're Edmonton?
I mean, in that $5 million range, maybe. This is my view for Edmonton: is you're in your win mode. Like you are in your window to win a Stanley Cup. Like it may hurt you in a couple years, but it's like you got the next 2 to 3 years maybe to really push for a cup here. So strike while the iron's hot. You got to commit to it, and it may not be the perfect contract. You may not like it in 4 years if it's a 5-year deal, but you got to win today.
Yeah, and he's 30, so you're still going to get some quality years, right? So, like Cass said, you might suffer in that 4 or 5 year, but the top 3, or you're still going to get a quality player.
So, do you leave Clefbaum unprotected then?
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
I don't think he's coming back.
Like
I don't think
playing hockey.
he's coming back.
Yeah.
which is really unfortunate. But yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
Side note.
Go ahead, Ernest.
The Condors just signed Dylan Holloway to a amateur trial for the remainder of the season, and he will not wear number 44. So your boy Gager is going to suit up for the Condors.
Wow.
I think his hand was going to be ready, or his thumb. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, get a few American League games in. Why not? Final question, boys. John Tortorella will never coach in the NHL again as a head coach. Keep it or clip it.
Clip it. Of course he'll coach again. He's that swift kick in the butt that some teams need. It just, I mean, I don't think he can. It's 3-4 years and that's it. But yeah, he'll get another job. He'll go home to his big ranch and calm down a little bit and refocus, and then he's good for a few years, and then he sits all his stars on the fourth line and then gets fired. So that's the
He'll end up in Buffalo next season.
I was going to say, this is a Buffalo thing, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay because it's the fourth line in Buffalo is the same as the first line after all these stars leave, so it won't really matter.
Yeah.
Hernan, did you pick one yet?
I guess I'm with Gager. Someone will scoop him up, and like Gager said, he's always good in those first years. He gets the guys going and then believing in him, and then that fourth, fifth year, it's goes downhill because his strategy is to bench his best players, and it rarely works out for him. So I'll clip it. I think he'll get scooped up by some team.
Yeah, I gotta clip it too. I hate agreeing with everybody, but I'm gonna throw a caveat in there. I think he doesn't last anywhere more than 2 years.
Oh,
because I think we're like we saw rest in peace, Patty Quinn do it. We've seen Hitchcock do it, where they bring these guys back, like the Stern type of coaches. Sutter just got brought back. So I think he gets one more kick at the can, and it's going to be like for 2 more years, and then that's going to be it for him.
He did he did really well in Columbus there, like beating Tampa
yeah.
But I don't look at his time in Vancouver as overly successful. Right?
He had 1 year, right?
that was pretty bad. Like they were bad with him. So he has to go into a situation where there's not a lot of poopy diapers if they sit. I mean, Laine's not a typical Tortorella guy, I don't think. Like you got to put your skate guards on so he don't cut his lip when he sits, right?
Gager, let's get Coolbet to put some odds up on where he ends up.
I like you. I like where you're at. I'll bet on that.
Oilers Habs tonight, boys. Let's wrap up with a prediction. What do we think happens tonight? Do they win? They lose? What happens?
Oh, they're losing tonight. I'm sorry to say there was a few too many drinks had Saturday night. It was a time to celebrate locking in the playoff picture. Connor getting 100. I'm sure there was probably more than 100 Coors Lights that night. So they're going to fall tonight, but it's okay.
4-2 Edmonton. Yamamoto scores. Mikko Koskinen bounces back. Well,
bounce back for Koski.
Yeah, I'm going 7-1 Edmonton. I think Edmonton's going to show up and play SmackDown. With the reason being is that they don't want to give any kind of hope to the Canadians that they have to play them in the first round. I think they want to make sure that they play the struggling Jets, and the only way to absolutely ensure that is to put the stomp down. So yeah, I think 7-1 Edmonton.
I like it, Cass.
That's a great confidence.
I got 4-3 Canadians. I just had to look at it's 4-3 Canadians. So
what's that? Gage like plus 2,600 or something? Plus 2,000 something? Yeah, 2,400. All right, there we go. I'm going to parlay it with another project score, and you'll never see me again because you win like 12 grand if you can correctly predict 2 games at the same night. All right, that's going to do it. Once again, our presenting sponsor, CoolBet Canada. If you're signing up for an account at CoolBet, use the promo code 2guys. That's the number 2, the word guys. You get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Episode 141, and in honor of Cass's McDavid rant, I think we go episode 141. Do you realize? It was good. The do you realize thing really hit home with me, Cass. That was good. Boys, enjoy the next couple of games. Obviously, we're going to be back here just around the corner starting to play preview the playoffs. This should be fun. For Gager, Cass, Hernan, I'm Nielson. Thank you very much for watching. If you are watching and haven't not yet subscribed, download the podcast, 2 Guys and Goalie, on all your podcasting platforms, and we will be back with another episode on Thursday. See you later, boys.
See you guys.
Later, bye.